Stadium in West Lafayette, Indiana, home to the Purdue Boilermakers, where the black and gold hoping to boiler up in this one. And the Scarlet Knights will put total leather to crank us up. On the move from inside his 5. Really disciplined job by the coverage unit to get down there and make the stop at the 19. So Purdue's offense will have the ball first. And David, their quarterback hasn't always blown you away statistically, but he is a guy that the coaches trust.
Yeah, and he'll show you some flashes of why you should trust him, Reese. But here's the thing. This is not a guy that we're saying, go win me the football game. That's not where he's at right now in his career. Jesse, he's a guy that needs the others, that they got to help him out. They got to play on schedule, not make those mistakes, and guys really play well around him.
Yeah, David, the one thing quarterbacks don't want to be referred to as is a game manager, but that's really more what this guy is. You're right. They have to be able to run the football. They can't turn it over. They got to play great defense. If they do that in this game, he's good enough to get this win.
Bringing the heat. And the defense makes a play, sacking him back at the 10.
One thing you know about this defense, they have got a pass rush, and you cannot be predictable, especially when it comes to throwing the football. There is too much athleticism and length up front on this defensive line and in their front 7, and they register a sack early here on only the second play of the game.
Now a lot of work to do to move the chains, keep this drive alive after that earlier sack. Gets the back moving. On 3rd and long, doesn't need to take the check down. Trying to escape and get it himself. Good run on the play, and he slides to avoid the hit.
Man, now and if this offense could go back, they'd be like, throw it away. You know, don't take the sack earlier in the downs, because the scramble now puts you in a good 4th down situation. Interested to see what this offense does, but they got to stay away from those negative plays.
And the Boilermakers will try to pin them back with the punt. Getting our first look of the afternoon at the punter. Working his way on the return up to the 40-yard line before he stopped. So Rutgers offense will get the ball for the first time. Guys, if you listen closely, I think you can hear the jawing going already between this quarterback and wide receiver. What a matchup, Jesse, it's going to be between those two.
You know, so many people have already been talking about this individual one-on-one matchup, David, and it's going to be happening out on an island all game long. The receiver's got speed, he's got game-breaking ability, catching the football, can climb the ladder. He's going up against one of the best shutdown corners in the game. I cannot wait to watch this.
Yeah, and he's got the speed to stay with him and the instincts, and he's been so great out wide in every game. This is a huge test. This is a Sunday test. 2 NFL guys going at it to see who's going to take home the prize.
All right, nothing flashy there. He just did what it took to get the first down.
From the 47-yard line on 1st and 10. Use the play fake, now to throw. And the heat gets home. They knock him down back at the 45.
This defense, they are tenacious, and they've got guys up front that are athletic and that are so strong and that can collapse the pocket. You saw it right there in that play action.
The Scarlet Knights now with a long way to go to pick up the first down. They'll run it from the gun. That is a big win for this defense as they were right there as soon as he got the ball.
Great job at contained by this defense. And in order to do that, the end man on the line of scrimmage defensively has got to be able to set the point and force the football back into traffic. And that's exactly what happened.
And whatever they did on 1st and 2nd down, don't do that anymore. 3rd and very long coming up. And the defense gets home and makes a play at the 37-yard line.
How about this defense coming out the gates? First drive, getting to the quarterback. They wanted to affect the quarterback, make him feel uncomfortable. Already 2 sacks on this first drive.
And the Scarlet Knights line up to punt it away. Here's the fair catch, and he'll make it close to the 20-yard line. They'd love to put a long drive together here as they start from their own 21. Wants to throw on first down off the play fake. Finds his man. It's Moore. Found a little bit of room to operate, but he'll be stopped just short of the first down. You know, we joke that the tight end's always open, David, but play action almost makes it impossible to keep them covered.
And yeah, because those guys, they're such good blockers most of the time. They're big and physical, and they sell block for a second, and then they run open and they find holes in zones, or they get good matchups. And man, those tight ends nowadays are nightmares for defenses to try to stop.
Well, that's two very good decisions on that play by the quarterback, right? Number one, not to hand it off. That was the right look to throw into. And the second good decision was his guy was covered, so don't throw it. Just take off and get what you can get. You got to like the decision-making this guy is showing right now in this game.
With a first down, they'll snap it from the 32. The give on the option. And he was fortunate not to lose yardage on that play, able to wedge it back to the line of scrimmage.
That back had absolutely nowhere to run the football. Actually, is he counting? I think he's counting to make sure there's only 11 guys on defense.
It's been a defensive battle through the first period, and the stats tell that tale. Sometimes you see the offenses sort of settle in, find areas to probe after that first quarter. First play of the period will be a second down. Wants to go up top. Those two not on the same page. It's incomplete. They punted on their opening drive, and now they need a third down conversion to avoid punt. From the gun, wants to pass. And the rush will get to him at the 25.
Man, it didn't take long for the defense to get home on that play. You see them playing man coverage in the back end, slowing down the routes from the receivers and the rest of the offense. That forced the quarterback to have to hold on to it for just a split second longer, and they were able to get the sack.
The Boilermakers will line up to punt it away. This will be the second time they've had to kick it away. Working his way on the return up to the 40-yard line before he stopped. And the Rutgers offense heads back onto the field. That last drive won't go on the highlight reel after ending in a punt. They'd like to be more productive this time, David. There he goes! Into enemy territory and out of bounds at the 48.
Offensive coordinators just spend all offseason in a lab, and they just draw up stuff over and over again. How many times can I use misdirection? How many times can I use speed against the linebackers who flow so fast to the football? Really nice play design, a little misdirection. The defense didn't know what hit them. Big gain for the offense.
Makes the grab. It's strong. They finally get him on the ground, and this junior turning in a big play after the catch.
The defense needs to have a plan for this guy. They weren't ready for that one. Drag route, running all the way across the field, and the DB just can't stay with him because of his speed, and as a result, they give up a big one.
Down to the 23 for this 1st and 10. Wants to go up top on first down. Fires to the right. He's got it. And he makes a grab. Defense draped all over him, and it's 1st and goal at the 9.
Yeah, and you've seen these curl routes. This is a timing route, understanding the ball's got to come out of my hand right when he hits the top of that curl. Nice job by the QB finding him. Nice catch.
The Scarlet Knights are threatening on 1st and goal. They'll try to get it in with the run. And he rolls into the house. Touchdown, Rutgers.
And this running back is so dangerous down close to the end zone. He's got wiggle, he's got great vision and burst, and he showed all of those attributes right there.
Setting up for the extra point after the first score of the game. And he's got the extra point, and it's 7-0 to start this one. Quick work on that scoring drive, just 4 plays. And what a way to finish it with a 9-yard touchdown run. Kickoff unit on the field, and this defense will be called on to protect this lead. Here he comes from inside his own 5. Didn't find any crease in that kickoff coverage, and he'll be stopped at the 17. The Purdue offense heads back out to the field. They're looking for something, looking for anything to try to put some kind of score on the board, down 7-0. And they'll spot it at the 38, and that'll be plenty for the first down.
You hate giving up that play if you're the DB on this one because you're playing man coverage, you're trying to defend a slant route, you've taken the inside away. That's where your leverage is. You'll allow anything to happen to the outside. You're trying to funnel the receiver to the boundary. You just cannot let the receiver beat you to the inside.
Not much of a chance there. He just had to get rid of it to avoid the sack.
We just have not seen this offense look very sharp so far in this game, running or throwing it. In the second half, throwing it specifically, I think they need to find a better rhythm. They've got to find a way to get some completions strung together.
Working well behind the sticks on second down. Misfired on the last play. They'll go back to the air. Trying to make magic with his feet.
It's just so nice to have a QB under center nowadays in football. You can trust these guys. You put so much on their plate, and you tell them, go get positive yards when it's there. And a lot of these guys are such great athletes, they do it with ease.
Here they come, facing 3rd and long from the 40. From the gun, wants to pass. Oh, they really could have used that catch there. Physical pass defense. It brings up a 4th down.
It's amazing to think just how confident this offense was coming into this game. They thought they were going to go up and down the field throwing the football in this one. That has not been the case. They have not yet scored a touchdown in this one. They just threw an incompletion on 3rd down now, looking like they may have to punt. This offense has got to find their rhythm, but you've got to wonder about their confidence at this point of the game.
And the return man reaches the end of the line, and down he goes. They'll get things started on this drive from the 24. Looking downfield on 1st down. Outside the pocket, lets it go. And that'll be incomplete. They tried to hit him with a big one on 1st down.
There's a lot of QBs that when they get hit and when they get hurried and when they get pressured, they become very average. Really nice job by the defense, pressuring the quarterback.
Try to make up for some of that lost ground on 2nd down. On the move, it's Campbell. Gets it past the marker. That's the kind of play that can really get you going as they have a 1st down at the 43.
Well, he was able to gash him on that play. You just give this guy 1 inch, one little crease, he puts his foot in the ground, and he gets north fast.
Offense lines up for a 1st and 10 from the 43. Looking to throw on 1st down. That's caught. It's strong.
A nice job by the QB there, timing out that drag throw. It's zone coverage, so he's got to make sure he gets it to his receiver in a window to allow him to catch the ball and then turn it upfield.
Line getting set on 2nd down. Trying play action. Grabbed over the middle at Sheffield. Gets it all the way down to the 39-yard line. It'll be a 1st down.
And I love the awareness by the wide receiver on that play because I'm not sure that route was supposed to be that deep. You got to wonder if the receiver decided maybe to adjust the route a little bit to make sure that he got the first down.
And the Scarlet Knights will have it 1st and 10. The offense will stop the clock and use one of its timeouts.
They're trying to run the football. There's just nowhere to go for the ball carrier inside. He tried to bounce it to the outside. That linebacker way too fast. He met him there and forced the TFL.
Back to throw, time running short in the half. Got it in the middle. It's Campbell. Makes the grab almost to the first down marker, but a good pickup on that one.
One of the things you love about this running back is not only can he run between the tackles, but he's also a weapon in this offense catching the football.
The Scarlet Knights come to the line on 3rd and short, trying to keep the drive alive. He'll throw on 3rd down. Grab near the marker. It's Sheffield. Quick timeout from the offense to save precious seconds. We asked earlier this week, who's your favorite receiver? And of course he said the open one, but we know who he really wants to go to on 3rd down.
The best one. I mean, I think the open one, obviously the politically correct answer, but you want to find the guy that you got that great chemistry with. You know,
he caught it! Can't quite cross the plane to get the 6, but they'll have the 1st down.
Man, this defense, they have got to get better in coverage if they want to get off the field anytime soon. You keep defending like that, this offense might hang 50 on you by the end of the game.
This will likely be the last play of the half. On the ground. Into the end zone he goes. Touchdown, Scarlet Knights.
man, what great offensive execution. You talk about addressing a 2-minute situation and using almost all of the clock, adding to your lead and creating more momentum going into the half. Great execution by this offense.
Lining up for the PAT. And the extra point makes it 14-0. So it's a 77-yard touchdown drive, and they capped it off with a 1-yard plunge. They're coming out to tee it up for the kickoff, and that last score was a real buzzkill for this crowd. He'll bring it out. It's Thomas. They finally make the stop. That's going to make those halftime stats look a little bit nicer as we head to the break. First half in the books. Time now to join Kevin Connors in our halftime update.
Fellas, yeoman's work so far in West Lafayette today, and welcome into the halftime update. And a lot of coaches will say limiting the big plays and maybe hitting on a few yourself is key. But I'm more of a move the chains guy. Give me efficiency every day of the week and twice on Saturday. The offensive unit that subscribes to the less is more philosophy might be the one that leaves here today with a big fat W. And with that, let's send it back to the guys at Ross-Ade Stadium.
On the run from inside his own 5. Not a lot of space to be found. Good hustle by the coverage team, and they stop him at the 21. Rutgers has it back. They'll send the offense back onto the field. Got to be smart, patient, great vision. Uses all of that to get to the 29.
It's got to feel good as an offense knowing that early in the drive you can turn around, hand it off, get a push up front, and go get positive yardage.
And the Scarlet Knights can really attack on this 2nd and short. Receiver on the move gets the touch pass. He moves the chains, and they'll mark the ball at the 33.
And just went with something very easy, very reliable. Flip it forward, let your receiver do the rest. I only got to get a few yards. Nice job, nice execution. First down.
With the first down, they'll put it in play from the 33. Power football with the run. Just willed his way for a couple out to the 35.
The big fella in the middle, man. Those defensive tackles, they go such a long way in deciding and really stopping the other team's run game. Just forcing contact with those guards and those centers, owning the line of scrimmage, and getting running backs on the ground.
After picking up a couple, it's 2nd and 8. Pulls it in. It's Duff. Finally forced out of bounds. Maybe a step shy of midfield. They'll mark it at the 49.
The defense has got to be able to make a play at some point here in the second half. You're down 2 possessions. You need to steal a possession badly. You need to have a takeaway. The coverage is going to have to be way tighter than on that last throw. Otherwise, this offense is just going to go up and down the field.
Coming out on 1st down with the play fake. That's caught. It's Duff.
Hey, listen, on offense, just take what the defense gives you. Quarterback looks out wide, he sees the DB way off of the receiver. Throw him the easy hitch pass, you'll take that completion.
The Scarlet Knights with a 2nd and short to keep this drive moving. Back to pass. Throwing right. He makes a catch. They are on the move down to the 32, and they pick up another 1st down.
It's a nice play call there. You've got 2 possession lead. You're trying to keep the defense guessing, right? Because you've got that lead, they know you're going to run it, but you still have got to be able to sprinkle in some shot plays and some vertical throws. That was really, really good thinking on that last play call by the offense.
And maybe he'll get back to the line of scrimmage, but no more than that. It's amazing how a play by a defensive end in the backfield can really swing the momentum not only of a series, but of a game sometimes.
All you're trying to do is create negative plays, to get them behind the sticks a little bit, to get those sacks, to get those tackles for losses. You see so much stunting in college football up front with the defensive line because you know once you get one of those plays, you got the offense right where you want. That's a really good stop by the defense. Jesse, they need a few more. You've given up a bunch of yards on this drive and a bunch of plays, but all that matters is keeping them off the scoreboard.
Yeah, it's that bend, don't break mentality you're seeing right now, and this is the point where this defense has just got to lock in.
Didn't get nearly enough done on 3rd down. He's brought down at the 31-yard line. And on 4th down, here comes the field goal unit. And this field goal attempt will be a 48-yarder and not straight on from the left side. Never a doubt. And that will extend their lead even further.
And listen, y'all know in the booth and everywhere how I feel about kickers. Don't always love leaving it on their foot, so to speak, but nice job executing. He keeps doing stuff like that. I'll keep trotting him out there.
They keep pushing that lead out, and the kickoff team's getting some work. He'll start the return inside his 5. He was looking for more running room, but none to be found as he stopped at the 23. This drive opens up at the 23-yard line. Oh, they're after him. Can't find his man as he took a shot trying to deliver that football, and it'll be 2nd down.
And the defense at this point understands that the offense is going to have to try to throw the football, all right? They already got a lead, so they're now pinning their ears back and getting after this guy, trying to get him to the ground.
So now it's 2nd and long. Looking to fire. Finds his tight end. And the defense stops him just short of the 1st down. Maybe needed a few more chain links to move the sticks.
Well, you hear all the time that the tight end's the QB's best friend. You saw a perfect example of it on that last play, right? 2nd down, you need to pick up some positive yards to keep this 3rd down manageable. Really nice job of executing there.
He'll go to the sneak.
And David, on 3rd and inches right there, that's often a decision the quarterback predetermines. Who's my best guard? That's the guy I'm going to try to get behind.
And I know that defensively too, but I'm just trying to dive and create a pile, but it's so hard to stop that play. That's why you see it ran so successfully.
The Boilermakers with the 1st and 10. They'll go to the ground. Stopped in the backfield. He's going to lose 3 yards on the play.
Second down coming up.
We've come to the break, and Rutgers is holding the lead. And they've built a comfortable lead after 3 quarters of play. Let's take a look at how we've gotten here. As we start the 4th quarter, it'll take a pretty sizable comeback to win this one. They had a chance to mull things over. Let's see how they start the final period here on 2nd down. Wants to go up top. And the pass is incomplete thanks to a big hit.
At this point in the game in the 4th quarter, it is going to be tough for this offense to get some completions here because now, trailing by this much, the defense is expecting pass and they're putting a whole bunch of extra DBs on the field to help them out in coverage.
It'll take some work to get to the sticks. It's 3rd and long from the 30. Looking downfield, and he needs a bunch. Quickly out to the tight end. He got it out to the 34-yard line. Not enough for the 1st down. Let's see if they punt it away.
Well, and here's the problem offensively. Because you're trailing by so much so late in the game, the defense now is going to be playing big zone coverages, and they're going to allow you to throw the ball underneath in the middle of the field, rally to make a tackle, and bleed the clock. It's going to be hard now for this offense to claw their way back in this one.
Blasted as he lets it go. And it's incomplete, and this defense makes a 4th down stop. Couldn't ask for better starting field position for this offense. He'll pull it on the read. And the defense holds firm. No pickup at all on that play.
The offense thought they had a good look to run that play into with the QB, but there's just an example of a defender winning his one-on-one battle and making a tremendous play. Great effort by that guy.
Plenty of distance between them and the sticks here on 2nd down. Wide receiver comes in motion. Quick pass on the fly motion. He'll get it all the way to the 13-yard line before he's forced out of bounds.
I love that play call, and I love the timing of the pre-snap motion. Because the quarterback was able to get it to the receiver right behind the offensive line, because of the timing, he was able to outflank the defense. That puts him out in space where he's able to use his speed. Nice job with the pre-snap motion and timing.
And the Scarlet Knights come to the line after ripping off that huge gain on the ground, trying to keep it going. Defense a little too jumpy there, and they got into the neutral zone too soon.
Neutral zone action. Defense.
The offense moved, but it was because the defender jumped into the neutral zone, and the offense will pick up the 5. The give, and tick, 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 tick. So close to that end zone. He could almost taste it, but it'll be 1st and goal for this offense.
You got to give the coaching staff credit because they really do focus all season long on situational football with the lead late in the game. If we're on offense, we're trying to stay in bounds. We're trying to bleed the clock. And after ripping off a really nice run, that guy knew, I've got to get down. I cannot get pushed out of bounds, cannot get tackled out of bounds. Really, really nice job.
And he never had a chance. Just stopped cold as soon as he got it.
It's going to be tough sledding for the offense here. They're trying to ice this game by running the football and bleeding the clock. They've got a pretty good lead here late in the game, but the defense knows the run's coming, right? So they're going to be loading the line of scrimmage, getting stops like what they just did. Be interesting to see what the offense does on this next one.
Slams ahead. And there was nowhere to go. Just stopped in his tracks in the backfield.
Unsuccessful 2nd down, and now I'm immediately thinking, I got a little bit more than I want, so what are my pass plays? What am I going to get into here offensively to try to have success on 3rd down?
This offense has gone haywire on these last 2 plays in the red zone. Can they set things right on 3rd and goal? Caught in the backfield, it's Sheffield. He's not going to make it. What a job by this defense to stop him in his tracks.
I think moving forward on 3rd down, this offense is going to have to be a little bit more aggressive and try to throw it vertically. You start throwing the ball around the line of scrimmage against these guys, they've got way too much speed. You saw it right there.
And if the kicker can put one through, this will be a successful drive. Dead center perfect. And now the lead is extended a little further.
And they just tack on more points to this big lead. Listen, fourth quarter was sitting extremely pretty. All we got to do, not give up big plays, make them earn everything they get the rest this way, and we looking pretty good.
That lead just keeps getting fatter, and this kickoff team doing a little running. And he takes this from inside the 5. He gets a block. Oh, what vision. They eventually chase him down, but what a spectacular return that almost went all the way. Looking to throw on first down. Fires to the wideout. Got it in the middle, it's Ross. The offense will have to use its first timeout of the half.
Well, this offense has not put their best product on the field today. They've got no points to show for any of their efforts so far, but they've still got a chance. But if it's going to happen, it has to happen now in this.
Rush coming in hot, and they got him at the 29.
And a great job by the defense, dropping in zone coverage, all eyes on the quarterback, taking away the options, and then finally the pass rush gets home, gets him on the ground.
The Boilermakers have put themselves in dire straits after that last play. It's 2nd and a mile. Back to pass. Under fire. And the pressure is coming in, and they get him again. Offense calls a timeout here. Critically important to make sure they have the right play called and everyone on the same page here. On 3rd and long, you'll have to turn it loose deep. Under fire. And the pressure gets to him again. Another sack.
And it's been a long day for this offense. If you can't protect your quarterback, it's hard to be successful. That's the 5th sack they have given up. The offensive coordinator has no answers, and this defense has been flying around.
That earlier sack really set them back, but they'll still go for it here. Throws toward the end zone. Oh, he dropped it. That deep ball was right on the money. You just have to make that catch. Desperately wanted to keep the ball, but they did not. And this one is just about in the books. The defense can stop the clock one more time as the offense takes a knee.